I've introduced myself, and I want to believe we have a good number of people on the call, so that we'll not bore us with the details. I can just take my, probably if I need anyone to say anything, I will just pick it from the names I have on the call. So let's go. What comes to mind when you hear project management? So I want to go around that angle before we now talk about what agile project management is, which is a Scrum aspect. I'm trying to share my screen. I'm not familiar with, okay, I've seen it.
You can enroll in our academy so that we teach you how to use Zoom.
I know you're there.
Happy to see you. Good morning.
I know you're there.
Good morning.
Good morning. So, as many that are on the call, I know we have experienced people here, but what comes to mind when you hear project management? What's the first thing that comes to mind when you hear
stop sharing your screen now?
Oh, I've not started sharing my screen. Okay. Let me look for my slide. I can't see it, that's why I can't see it. I can't see my slide that I'm presenting. Okay. So what comes to mind when we hear about project management? Some school of thought believe that once they hear about project management, they believe it has to be either construction, building, and things like that. Okay, so like the kind of training that I've learned in the past. I want to start with Abdurrahman. Abdurrahman, what do you think when you hear about project management?
I don't have an idea.
You've never heard of projects, so why are you here?
I've heard of projects, but I don't know how should I just place it down. Okay, like let me just see it in this. Okay, so project management.
Okay.
This is
so now if Abbas come up today and say, Abdurrahman, I have a project for you.
Okay.
So what comes to your mind?
Okay. What comes to my mind? That means he has a work for me. I have to develop something now too.
Yeah, so that's like a project. You have a work, you have something, you have a task that needs to be delivered.
Yes.
So when I'm now adding project manager, I'm adding management to it. So what do you think happens?
Okay, that means managing the functionality of the projects, managing how it work, the procedures to. I don't know if I'm on point.
Yeah, you're on point. Yes. So
okay.
you can see, because you thought project management is like one big word, you felt that, oh, you don't know what it is. So it has to be, project management talks about steps taken for you to carry out a task, for you to deliver a piece, for you to deliver a product, for you to deliver a project. And in project management, we have different methodology. As much as I can, I don't want to make this slide to be too much. That's why I took that off this presentation. So the methodologies, we have the agile methodology, which has different ones, but the popular one is the Scrum methodology, because it's easy to use for software projects, like what will be done when you guys are fully onboarded. And we have the other one, which is the traditional methodology, and that is also applicable to software project, but it depends on the customer, what values they want to get. If it's something they want to wait till the end of the project to get their values, or they want to, or probably construction projects. That is also basically more a thing that we can use with the traditional methodology to do, which is also called waterfall. So we're not going into that this morning because we have just 1 hour for this session. But we're taking the Scrum Agile methodology. So before I go, I also need to ask another person on this call, Johnson Ayotoyinbo, what Johnson feels about when you hear the word agile. What comes to mind when you hear the word agile?
Right. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Yes, agile from the English word is just to like a kind of enthusiasm. That's what I know, because in the area of programming language, I think I'm hearing it for the first time here now.
Okay, in the area of programming language, unfortunately, I don't program, but I know I can speak about, okay, what program is. So you said
Well,
something about
yes,
enthusiasm.
yes, when you are like eagerness, when you are eager to do.
Eagerness, yeah, eagerness. So the term agile, agile when we want something to be done fast, quick. We have words like quick, fast. When somebody, like, I have one of the customers, then will tell you that I want this thing. This you guys are only coming with agile. Me, I want fragile. As in, he's just using it as an example that he wants something, he wants his result fast, wants something quick. And so when we talk about Scrum, it's an agile methodology. Okay, Damilola.
This agile that we are talking about, is it different from when you try to lay emphasis on flexibility or something?
Exactly, that's the keyword. One of the keywords for agile, that's flexibility. You want that changes happen in your project, and you quickly adjust to it. When you're developing an application, and there are certain requirements that need to be included, because an agile team, a Scrum team, I'm going straight into the training, but I will try and go back if I'm going to. I was trying to explain that. So because it's an agile team, we have this set of team that they are adaptable. They are cross-functional team that can adjust to changes easily. So the Scrum Master calls and said, we have these changes that need to be implemented, and we get it done and fired immediately. And the team adjusts. We look at the team strengths that we have. Do you have people that can do it? Oh, yes. And we assign people to carry that task out. So at the end of this training, we will understand the basic principle of Scrum, the Scrum roles and responsibility, understanding the Scrum values, and the benefits of Scrum. So, like I said earlier, we have a lot of agile project management principles. We have a lot of agile project management principles. Trying to move on. Okay. So we have a lot of agile project management methodologies, but basically the scope of this session will be around the Scrum. So Scrum is an element of is a most popular agile method, like I explained, which is always used for software projects, like one of us mentioned about, I'm trying to bring out this. Okay. All right. So the most popular agile method is the Scrum, because it's an adaptive and iterative, flexible, and effective framework to deliver software projects, most especially like what we will be doing. So this is basically for products that the customer wants value, because why are we delivering a project? We are delivering a project to give somebody value. There is a project to develop a website. Let's start from there. Why do we need to deliver this project? A customer is there waiting to be able to say, oh, I want my product to be on the internet. I want people to be, and for the sake of advertise my project, for the sake of advertisement, I want to carry out this project. So, because I need my product to be delivered fast. And that's the reason why I'm calling on the dev link team to be able to deliver a product for me. So Scrum allows us to be flexible, to be able to deliver products on time to the customer. We also describe Scrum as a collaborative effort to create a new product. So as we continue, there's a certain there's a certain thing that there's some certain terms that I'll be using as we continue. But I also need us to know that there is an aspect of Scrum that is very, very key. We have certain values of Scrum that can be applied whenever we're on a Scrum team. Also, it's also important for us to know that we also have certain keywords that will be used by the time we carry out this agile methodology. Okay, so we'll move straight to the next slide. Certain Scrum terms. Okay, before I continue, I want to ask a question. So do we understand the term Scrum? The Scrum methodology. It's an agile principle. So do we understand that word, the Scrum methodology now based on the description that I explained? Before I move to the next one.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so in your own time, can you describe what it is? In your own time, Abdurrahman.
Okay, ma. So Scrum methodology, or if I'm not mistaken, yeah. So is how should I put? Okay, it's a management framework that team organizations work together to achieve a common goal.
Okay.
Like that's a specific method for organizations to work towards achieving a common goal. I think that's
Okay, so can Mohammed also explain, because there are certain keywords I want to get, which I've not gotten from. So Emmanuel Oyetade.
All right, thank you, ma. I think it's the process that determines a kind of decision on how to implement the project. Such kind of like observation, experience.
Okay. Let me go back to the explanation again. So, like I said the Scrum methodology is a methodology that is applied when we're on a project to deliver value to customer. When you want to deliver value to customer early on the project. So I want to use an example to develop a website. So we have different stages of development. You want to do the front, the user, the front end where the user will be interacting with, and you have other platforms where other things are here to do. But for a project that will last for 1 month, or for that project, probably it will last for like 3 months. Within 1 month, I want my customer to be able to see something, to be able to see progress on what I've done. So Agile Scrum methodology allows this. Scrum methodology will help you to be able to say, okay, at this particular time, your customer can see something. And that's what we talk about, the flexibility. Unlike other kind of projects that, at the beginning of the project, the customer, or probably at the beginning, maybe like in a month's time, the customer might not be able to even see anything. You will just say, the project ends in April, and between now and April, you won't be able to show the customer anything because it's the type of approach that you're using to deliver that project. But if you are using the Scrum the Scrum methodology, the Agile methodology, it allows flexibility. It allows for you to have a session, because by the time we go into this session, you'll be able to get more insights to what we're talking about, how we're going to be achieving all this. So before we go, I want to go back. I want to move to the next slide before I come to this Scrum terms, because you'll be able to put perspective into it before we come back. By the time we are done. So in Agile, we have certain principles. In Scrum, we have certain principles that we work with. Those principles, it's called the Scrum principles. What does it advocate? It talks about the empirical process control. We have the self-organization, collaboration, because it's based on value prioritization, time boxing, and iterative development. So when you talk about the empirical process control, this advocates, it talks about trying, experimenting. We're trying to see, most times we always have the finish line at the back of our mind, but how we get there in Agile, in Scrum, we experiment. We try and see, let's see if we do it this way, especially when you have a team that is very flexible, that, I think we can adjust the way we're going to deliver this project. Why? Because in Scrum, we have team members that are flexible, that adjust efficiently, and they can carry out the tasks well. They are self-organizing team. We'll be talking about that as we continue, because that's the next principle. So self-organization talks about the ability for the team to be able to make decision, because Scrum team is made up of 8 people. Let me digress a bit, because I noticed that I've taken some basic things out of the introduction. So the Scrum, in Scrum, we have certain teams. We have the product owner, the Scrum master, and the development team. So these people, we'll be talking about them later. So these people makes up this self-organization. They are within this group, and you, the developers, fall into this category of this Scrum team. So So they are made up of a small team, 2 to 8 most times, could be less than, but within this team, you have the product owner, the Scrum Master, the development team. So development teams includes you, the QA, some other key resources that will be needed for that project. So like the example I gave around, the development of the website, you have key roles to play in terms of the self-organization part of it. Other Scrum principles that is very, very key is collaboration. And what we have at the back of our mind is delivering value based on prioritization. Can anyone explain what prioritization means? What is prioritization? Quadri? What is prioritization?
Quadri is an instructor.
Quadri
Maybe
is
you
an
should call
instructor.
somebody else. I don't know why
Okay.
everybody is keeping quiet like this.
Zainab, what is prioritization? What comes to mind when you hear the word prioritization?
Prioritization is doing the most pressing need, the most important.
The most, in fact, I love the keyword, most pressing. What is important? What brings value early? Nice. So at the beginning of a Scrum, as a Scrum team, we define, what are we delivering at this part of the project? I don't want to use those keywords now, but I'll go back to it when I'm done with the prioritization. So when we talk about prioritization, talks from what she explained, what is important, what is pressing, what needs to be delivered urgently. Remember when we talk about the Scrum principles, we talk about, delivering values, we want it to be done fast, as quick as possible. So what needs to be delivered fast? The team collaborates on it. They said they decide, they provide information around it, and they work towards delivering that thing. Another Scrum principle is time boxing. That means within the team, you have limited time to be able to deliver that product. You have limited time to be able to showcase what has been done. And this time boxing, depending on the number of period that you decide, which I'm going to take us back and describe that in the next, in the previous slide. We have iterative development. That means it's a continuous development that you do iteratively, one after the other. If there is need to make an adjustment, you develop, you build, you test. You develop, you build, you test. It's an iterative process when you're working towards delivery of certain things. Okay, so I want to go back to the keywords now. So in Scrum, we have this term that is called a sprint, the sprint. You know, when you are in a competition, sprint is like showing somebody that wants to run, that wants to carry out something. So in sprints, we have this term, and this is on the project. We have it as a term that describes how long you need to carry out a particular task. Most time we have it is always less than a month. Ideally, in Scrum, we have it is either 2 weeks or a month. So when your Scrum Master comes to you and tell you, on this project, I have my delivery to be a month or in 2 weeks. From there, you'll be able to say, at the end of this sprint, this is what we are releasing. So the sprint is like what happens, what you do within a period. So a period of a month or less. Define the definition of what is done. You'll be able to describe at the beginning of your sprint, during the sprint planning session. We're going to be talking about those events as we continue. So we have Epic. Epic is like a user story, a large user story. This one, it describes what needs to be done, but most times it's always too big to be fitted into a single sprint. So like an example, I'll set an example of what an epic will be when you are delivering a software project. Maybe you want to develop an e-commerce platform. You have a lot of deliverables. You break them down into, okay, you want to do the registration part whereby the user signs in. So that registration part is like the epic, the big user story but now the user stories now describe what needs to be done, the statements that express the desired functionality, the desired user. So the registration part is very, very big. So at the registration part, I'm the user, I want to be able to do certain things. That means I need to be able to register. So what do I need to do? The statement of what I need to do. So I want to be able to log in as Juwon into this platform. So what do I need to do as a developer? You need to now create the login page for me that will need a username, that will need a password. Okay, I can take it to the next level and say, oh, apart from that, two key things I need to do. I need to be able to also validate what I've done. I need to also authenticate myself, so I can take it to the next level of saying, oh, two-factor authentication, that's part of my registration requirement. I should be able to get an email to show that, oh, I'm the user that logs in, and from there it takes me to a link to be able to, at the beginning, I mentioned that is the epic, that is the registration that I need to do. But the key steps that I need to carry out to achieve that big user story, the large user story is the epic, is what is then described as the user story, a statement that expresses the desired functionality. Okay, I think there is a chat. Okay. Oh yeah, but it's fine. It's fine. I was trying to ask a question. Okay, that expresses the desired end user functionality. So most of the time on the project, we have the product owner, like I mentioned earlier, the Scrum Master, and the development team, which will be described later. The product owner creates this user stories and sends it out to the development team for them to be able to create the tasks that need to be done. So another Scrum term is prioritize delivery. So Scrum believes that in everything that we'll be delivering, we need to deliver value and in the least amount of time. So this required prioritized delivery as in on what needs to be done. And this is also being defined at the beginning. So when the Scrum Master comes to you that, oh, we have things that need to be delivered, all those things are being listed in what is called a product backlog. So it's more like a bucket that has everything that needs to be delivered, but at this time, it will be prioritized. And how will it be prioritized? It will be listed saying we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you have any item that has 1, 2, 3 to 10, prioritization means you are picking from the highest, the one with number 1, because it is priority to the customer. So the product owner decides what needs to be prioritized at every point in time on a project. So the next one is product backlog grooming. So these are keywords that you'll be hearing in projects. And this is just to do with filtering of tasks on the product backlog based on the importance. So when we are working and the product owner comes back and tell you that, oh, okay, there's a new development. Maybe at the beginning of your project, 1, 2, 3 is being prioritized, and all of a sudden, the product owner, maybe because the product, later I will describe who the product owner is the voice of the customer. So it comes back and tell you, oh, I need this thing. The customer wants us to prioritize an activity on this project. So he's saying that you want to see something around probably want to see the interface for the payments on your website. So you look for a way around. That's the product backlog grooming, to filter around the tasks. Okay, to be able to get to payments, there are some other key things that we need to do. So let's see how we can fast track this. Let's bring this up to be able to adjust. So it's like adjusting your product backlog to based on importance sets by the product owner. And release planning also talks about delivery. What are the things we need to do to be able to get to the delivery, and to be able to what are the delivery dates, the key dates that we need to do to get to the end goal of what we are doing. So we'll talk about the principles and the time boxing. So the time boxing, we have certain events in project in Scrum that is being time boxed, and we'll be talking about them later. So now we are talking about those events now. Those events are also like the keywords that have been described earlier. So we have the sprint planning, we have the daily stand-up, the sprint review, and the sprint retrospective. So when you're on a Scrum, you're in a Scrum team, like I mentioned, I said the Scrum team as the product owner, the Scrum Master, and the development team. I describe the product owner as the voice of the customer. The product owner comes from the customer angle, because if he listens to the customer and brings the request of the customer to us. And he put, like I mentioned, that he's a custodian of the product backlog, where you have all the items of things that need to be delivered. We also have the Scrum Master. So the Scrum Master is the one that coordinates the Scrum team. He's the one that is like Scrum described a Scrum Master as a servant leader. He's the one that runs the errand for the team. He's one that he's one that helps to organize the team. So he conducts some meetings whereby we get updates, you get information on the progress of the project. And the development teams, they are the developers, the testers, the quality control person, and those are the people that makes up the Scrum team. So let's go back to the Scrum events. So the Scrum events, we have 4 key things that happen during the Scrum event. So, but before I continue, can somebody tell me who a product owner is? Let me check. Read one. Read one.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, product owner, as you said is the voice of the customer.
Yeah.
When you are explaining the prioritization, I say it's the voice of the customer, like is the one that the customer will speak to. Maybe is the, or let me say, maybe is the owner of, maybe we are building a website now.
Okay.
It's the owner of the project that we are doing, so it's the one that will tell us maybe this is a new thing that we're supposed to do, or
okay.
I don't know if
Thank
I get
you.
it.
So Naomi, who is the Scrum Master? Is Naomi on the call?
Yeah, I just came in, so I'm trying to get what you've been saying, so I don't get it
Okay,
yet.
so what have you heard since you joined? What are the key things that you've heard since you joined?
Heard about this Scrum event, and I'm just trying to get what it is. So my network has been shaking, so I've been trying to join the meeting.
Oh, okay. So how do I help you now? Okay, let me just go back to what the Scrum methodology is. Although don't
Thank you very much.
So let me just summarize. Scrum methodology is a flexible approach to deliver projects. It's adaptable, and we have 3 key players in Scrum. We have the Scrum Master, the product owner, and the development team. Like Ridwan explained, he said the product owner is the voice of the customer. It could also be a customer, depending on the structure. So it represents the customer. So it comes to the development team and tells us what the customer wants. And it works based on prioritization. And we have a bucket that I use, which is called a product backlog, where we have the list of what needs to be delivered. And at every point in time, we pick out the most important to the customer to be delivered, and it gets to be delivered. Also, we have the development team where you fall in, the UI UX designer, the front end, the back end designer, developer rather. We have the tester. All these people are made up in a Scrum team, in a development team of a Scrum team. So now, Naomi, can you explain what you do around the Scrum team and what Scrum is?
Okay, with the brief summary you gave me, the Scrum methodology, it comprises of the Scrum Master, the product owner, and the development team. And this product owner, you say it can be either the voice of the customer or the customer, and it's according to what the customer wants. So we have to prioritize the work based on what the customer wants, then send it to the development team. And this development team are under this UI UX designer, the front end developer, back end developer, and tester. So the thing is that they all work out to enable this product owner, what the product owner wants, to give out what the product owner wants, which can also be the customer.
Okay,
thank you very much.
All right, so let's move straight to the Scrum events. So we have 6 key events that happen in Scrum, although there are certain ones that happens ahead of this the list of 4 that I have here. But the one that we have that critically needs the efforts of the Scrum team are the sprint planning, the daily stand-up, sprint review, and the sprint retrospective. Like I mentioned earlier, I talk about sprints, like it's a time box event that happen. That's where is time box what happens between 2 to 4 days, 4 weeks on a project. But how to achieve a sprint, it happens during the sprint planning, what needs to be delivered. So during the sprint planning, you define what needs to be done, and you have keywords that we use, and it's called the definition of done. So this is where the product owner, the Scrum Master, and the development team decide what needs to be done based on priority. So they go straight into the product backlog. I mentioned that the product backlog has the list of what needs to be done, and it's been taken to a sprint backlog. So that's another artifact that is used in Scrum. We call it the sprint backlog. So sprint backlog describes what needs to be done in the sprint planning. So at the end of the sprint planning, we have a product backlog that we itemize what needs to be done. So, and that is what we use all through that sprint. And I said sprint happens between 2 to 4 weeks on a project. During the sprint period, we have what is called a daily stand-up meeting. So during these daily stand-up meetings, the Scrum Master calls you and tell you, oh, at this meeting, we need to define 3 things. We come here to define 3 things. What has been done yesterday, what will be done today, and if there are blockers around what you're doing. So like yesterday, task has been assigned to the team. And we have Naomi to carry out a particular task, Emmanuel to carry out a particular task, and Ridwan to carry out a particular task, probably within a Scrum team. So during the daily stand-up meeting, everyone comes to tell us what has been done. And this is because we want to have visibility to what each one is doing and how, if there's any blocker, the development, the Scrum Master will be able to guide and remove all these blockers. So during the sprints, these are events that happen on a daily basis. So if you are on a project, it's not, when you are using the Scrum methodology, it's not for you to go and come back and say, oh, this is what I've done after 1 week. Every day, there is need for visibility on what has been done. And that is what the daily stand-up meeting does. So it creates room for transparency. Everybody knows where we are on the project. And it also gives us an idea that, oh, the finishing line that we have in mind between 2 to 4 weeks will be achieved. We also have the sprint review. So this is where we looked at, we demo what has been done. We show it, we present it to the customer to be able to see what that has been delivered. So that is where we have a review. The customer comes and we present probably the registration page to show, and you demo it to the customer. And from there, the customer will be able to see that, oh, we're making progress. If there's anything that needs to be added to it, probably around the design, the colors, or the font size and things like that, the customer can decide on that. And the Scrum team takes it back into their product backlog and say, okay, we need to add this in the next sprint, and it will be prioritized based on the fact that we needed to close out what has been done in the first sprint. So we have a sprint retrospective. So this is where the team comes and they decide, they have it thought through what has gone on in the previous sprint. So what went well, what they need to improve on, and what went well on the project, what didn't go well, and how they need to improve on it in the next sprint. So what Scrum advocates for is getting value, doing things well, improving on it, not until the total end of the project. We'll not be gathering and say, oh, we're having a lessons learned session, and in this session, no. But at the beginning, we'll have built on ourselves. That's why we call it flexible, adaptable. Any changes, we'll make it easily. We adjust ourselves, we adjust to the timing. Probably we notice the daily stand-up meetings. I mixed a particular keywords line around the daily stand-up meeting. It is a 15-minute meeting. So that happens every day, because I think what comes to mind when I say we have meeting every day, might be thinking, so when are we going to do the work? Fine, the daily stand-up meetings happen every day. 15 minutes maximum, and everyone is expected to go straight to the point. So as much as we can, also as developers, we need to know that it's not a platform whereby you now be explaining some technical things, no, or you want to be trying to solve certain problem. We explain the problem during the meeting, and the Scrum Master look for another platform of where we're going to resolve the problem. Maybe it has to do with code not jiving, or you have certain other technical challenges. So within the team, we have the technical team that can come up on another session to have such meetings to be able to resolve all those issues that we'll be having. So it happens 15 minutes on a daily basis. For the sprint planning, depending on the number of weeks, it happens. If it is a 2-week sprint, it's a 4-hour planning session. And if it's a 1 week, is a 1 month sprint, we have a planning session of 8 hours. So the sprint review is just an hour demo, because just to show what has been done. So can I get somebody to explain one of the events? Okay, so we have another Zainab. So we have Sanusi Zainab this time around. Can you explain to us the sprint planning? Okay. Am I talking to myself? Can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can
Yes,
hear
we
you,
can.
ma'am.
So Zainab, is she on the call, or she's also an instructor?
No, I'm a student.
Oh, okay. So what is sprint planning?
Sprint planning. Well, let me guess. It's
You're not supposed
probably
to guess.
well, maybe it's listing all the, well, a sprint is a 1 month duration of an event in
Okay.
Scrum. So a sprint planning is planning what you do within a duration of a sprint, listing all
Okay.
the,
And where do we put the listed item that needs to be delivered?
well,
It's called a sprint backlog.
a sprint backlog. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
All right. Thank you. So during sprint planning, we also mentioned that we define what the definition of done is, and which is very, very important, and it has to be documented. So everybody agrees on what needs to be done. Okay, what is the daily stand-up meeting? Can anyone explain what happens? What are the 3 things that happens during this daily stand-up meet? Muhammad.
Daily stand-up meeting. It's a kind of it's a kind of meeting taking place daily to discuss what you achieved yesterday and what you are to achieve today, and if there is any hindrance to that will need to be looked into.
Okay, how long does it take? The expectation of the timing?
The expectation of the
Yeah, how long on a daily basis?
on daily basis.
Yeah.
It is the first thing in the morning that used to take place during the Scrum.
Well, it depends on what the team agrees. It's not necessary it happens in the morning.
Oh,
So
okay,
it depends on the time that is being agreed by the team. And it's a 15 minutes meeting, because remember, we talk about Scrum values. Those are the values that we use, and time boxing is one of them, that are events. We define the time for the event, and it happens within that window period.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So the sprint review, we talk about it as when we have demo and the to review. It's just like showing what has been done to the customer, and sprint retrospective, we'll talk about what we did well on the project and what have you. So at this point, I don't know if we have any question. Any question from anyone before I continue? Okay. So we've talked about the Scrum team, the product owner, the Scrum Master, and the development team. So we are moving gradually to the end, and what we've had is this like a flow of what happened when during in a Scrum in terms of our product, our product project artifacts, Scrum artifacts, we call it Scrum artifacts. So we have a project business case. Like I mentioned, there are events that are happened that are not within the Scrum thing. This happens at the beginning, the project vision meeting. So this happens within the other key stakeholders of the project. So the project vision statements, they describe this at the beginning before it gets to us. But the one that is important to us as developer is the prioritized product backlog, which the product owner gets from the customer, and I list all the things that need to be delivered in the product backlog. So one key principle Scrum artifact here is the prioritized product backlog, because it's prioritized because it has list of what needs to be done, and it's connected to the release planning schedule, whereby the developer, whereby the team and alongside the Scrum team decide, how we're going to be releasing each element of the product, the onboarding part, the actual product setup on a website, or maybe you want to say, okay, at what point are we going to be showcasing how to add products that need to be advertised on this website, or probably it's an e-commerce platform whereby we want to sell an item. We have the list of products, where at what point are we going to, the customer will be able to upload a product for everyone to see, or at what point on the project are we going to get to the place of, now the customer will be able to now select an item to buy, or at what point on the project. So this talks about the releasing plan. How do you release each element of the project? And the sprint backlog. So the sprint backlog contains what needs to be delivered in the sprint. Remember when we're talking about sprint planning, so we have the sprint backlogs, and that is where the developer task is being assigned and with a timeline. Remember, one of the Scrum values talks about time boxing within the defined timing. And the sprint review, that's when we have a meeting to confirm what has been delivered. And at that point, we get a tick sign stating that it is accepted. So what are the events that happens between delivery and the sprint planning meeting? Is a daily stand-up meeting whereby we have meetings regularly. So now this is a summary of what has been said around the development approach for Scrum methodology. So from this slide now, it explains the inputs from the end users, the customer, the team, and other stakeholders. Like I said, this is the product owner who is the voice of the customer, and is a custodian of the product backlogs that has the features of everything that needs to be delivered, which it takes to the Scrum team. So the Scrum team, they select what needs to be done within the sprint planning meeting. The sprints can be number of as many sprints as possible for us to be able to get to the finish line. And we use this product, we use the sprint backlog to contain all the tasks that need to be delivered for that sprint. And within 1 to 4 weeks, the activities is being carried out. We have a goal to deliver, and it's being reviewed. Within that review, between the sprint and the review session, we have a daily stand-up meeting where the activity is being updated. There's a key element that I also need to bring to our notice. So during every sprint meeting, there is what we call a sprint board. So that's the Scrum board. So on that board, it has what everyone is doing. So if you come today and you tell us this is what you're delivering, it is transparent to everyone to see what we are doing, and we'll be able to walk along with it. And the expectation is that by the time you are coming tomorrow, you are making progress. So the sprint board is being updated daily, and we have different platforms where we can use that. We have different tools which is being used to get our sprint board. We have the Jira, we can use the Azure board, and some other key interactive platform for us to get resolution. So now is we just want to, so okay, let me go back before I move to the last one that talks about the benefits of Scrum. So from what we have learned, so I want contributions now. What do you think are the benefits of Scrum? So I want somebody that have not said anything. Bashir. Okay, so I have two Bashir. I have sorry. Okay, let me do Muhammad. And yeah. What can you say is the benefit of using Scrum? Wow. Okay. Abidemi Bashir, the second Bashir.
Scrum allows a timely delivery of project.
Okay, timely delivery of projects. Okay. Yeah, so it encourages the team to be more flexible and to understand the timing. And if you have been asked to deliver something within a short period, you want to work towards delivery. Okay. Saeed?
Though I joined late, so but I thanks our facilitators and all the other members of the group. What I can understand by the Scrum is that it makes us to have a good planning and a good
Okay.
working session together so that
Okay.
our work can be done as fast as it is possible, and not just fast to have a comprehensive work and a technical work to be delivered.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. That's profound. T1.
Yes, thank you. Like
Okay.
customer satisfaction.
Okay.
Then it encourages creativity too.
Okay, so encourages creativity.
Adaptability, flexibility, and all that.
All right, thank you. That's profound. Any other contribution?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Abdurrahman.
It encourages communications between team members and
Yes,
collaboration.
encourages communication and collaboration. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any
It's
other
also
person?
It's also a form of employee engagement and motivation. Like if you are
Okay.
doing that kind of stand-up meeting every day, it
Mm.
makes it more engaging and more motivational. If someone is not want to do something, maybe you are working on a project, once you see other people you are meeting every morning, so it actually encourage.
You want to enter a stand-up meeting and coming up with excuses. Nice, very, very, very profound. Any other one?
I think because of the feedback, it encourages continuous improvement, like the previous speaker said.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it
continuous
encourages
improvement.
improvement. Yeah.
Yeah, because we have the sprint retrospective that talks about what we did well. So any mistake that happens in the first sprint will not be taken to the next sprint. We have all spoken when. I have Naomi. I want to hear your voice.
Okay, ma, let me add to it.
Okay, thank you.
Brings about maximum productivity.
Maximum productivity. Excellent.
On a good product. Thank you.
All right. Okay, thank you. So that means I might not need to go over my next slide because we've all explained what happens, the benefits of Scrum, adaptability. So we make changes easily and we fall into those changes. We have transparency because we have our Scrum board, our sprint burn down chart. So sprint burn down chart shows what needs to be done towards the end of the project, as well as towards the end of the sprint. What are the things? Okay. Said, it's trying to say something.
No, I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying
Okay, so we have a Scrum board that shows what we are doing. When you come to the Scrum daily Scrum meeting, we'll tell you, you explain what needs to be done and what has been done, what you did yesterday, what you're doing today, and if there is any blocker. So it's spelled there. So when I'm coming back the next day, you can't come up with stories again. You'll be able to say, oh, I'm 15% done, and we'll be putting that on the board. The next one is continuous feedback. Because we have different platforms for interaction, we have the daily stand-up meetings where you get motivated, or you have the other platform, the review session where you validate what has been done. And even the retrospective, we have collaboration and talk about things that we did well and the needs for improvement. Somebody mentioned continuous improvement. Yeah. Because we have all these meetings, all this communication, it helps in our development approach on what we are doing. Efficient development process. The team is being motivated because you have a time box event and you need to maximize that period. And because of that, everybody's is on deck. The motivation when we have daily stand-up meeting, the sprint retrospective processes whereby we talk about how to develop, how to do better on the project, and the resource will be motivated. There is faster problem resolution because of collaboration. Everybody comes together because it's a time box event. We can't be carrying over tasks from one sprint to another. So we make sure that we have resolution on time. We work in a sustainable pace, and because we have the key thing that is behind our mind, delivering value. So we created the early delivery of what needs to be done on time. So at this point, I can take any questions because my session is just for a week, an hour, and I've taken 6 minutes. I apologize for that. So I don't know if I have any questions or any feedback from anyone.
Thank you, Madam John. We are really grateful for your time and the knowledge you impacted on us. Everyone, please help me say thank you to her.
Thank you
ma'am.
very much, ma'am.
Thank you,
Madam
thank
Juwon.
you. Thank you.
Very
All right,
much.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
All
All right,
right.
so I deliberately had this part to your curriculum because in the real world, in a corporate environment, you have to follow this methodology. And I don't want to introduce you to a project and then they're talking about sprints and you are not able to talk or blending into the discussion, or they assign a task to you from the backlog and you're asking what is backlog. So those are the reasons why we'll create this particular part of the training. If you miss any part of it, I would like you to go back to the video that we recorded and it will be shared. Please, please master it and get used to it. If you need to do an extensive reading on it, please do an extensive reading on it. The project that we are going to be building, we are going to be using sprint methodology to do it. And then we'll follow the principles strictly so that we'll get used to it. And then whenever there is any opportunity that is coming up, that won't be the starting point, or you will not be looking for an internship position anywhere. You will just be looking for a junior software developer position instead of looking for internship. If you miss all this training, you will look for internship because you won't have the skill to fit into the field. If there's any question for Madam Juwon before you take its leave, let me know so that we can break out into our session again and continue to our class. So is there any question for her? Mr. Bashir, do you have a question?
No, sir.
All right, thank you very much, Madam Juwon. We are grateful.
Okay, thank you. Bye, everyone.
All right, thank you.
Bye, madam.
Bye, madam. Thanks.
All right, so the breakout sessions are opened again. You need to go back to your session and then continue with your instructors. We'll share the recordings of this training and the project management training later. Thank you very much.